there, I'm Janette Lane, a craft designer at CraftStash, and in today's video I'm doing an unboxing and demonstration of the Tim Holtz Sidekick. So here's a close-up of the box and the machine. It weighs 2 pounds and is 4 3/4 inches tall. But don't let the smaller size fool you. This machine can die cut and emboss, and it's perfect for on-the-go crafting. So as we open the box right off the bat, there's lots of goodies inside. So first up, we have the cutting pads, which have been specially colored and made exclusively for this machine. And then we have the gray embossing pad as well. And this is to accommodate any wafer thin dies that fit, and also any embossing folders that are 2.5 inches by 4.5 inches. And we also have this itty bitty embossing folder. How cute is this? And you're gonna see that it coordinates with the stamp set that's included with the machine. But before we move on to that, it also comes with, of course, the user manual, which you're not gonna wanna toss because that shows you all of the combinations for cutting and embossing with this machine. So don't toss that. And then we have the die set, which is adorable. So we have 0 to 9 and then a tag framelit. And that's 12 dies in all. And lastly, we have the stamp set, which is 6 stamps, and they coordinate with not only the little mini embossing folder, but also the thinlit dies that are included. And lastly, we have the Sizzix Sidekick in that signature Tim Holtz color. Now that I've unboxed the Tim Holtz Sidekick, we want to show you how to use it. So the first thing you want to do is to activate the vacuum seal. So it's this lever here on this side, and all you do is just flip it over. When you activate the vacuum seal, it's going to hold securely to any smooth working surface. So if you can see my desk shaking, it does not budge once you activate the vacuum seal. All right, so I'm going to lift up the lever because I need to shift this around so it's actually facing me and I can crank it. And then I'm going to activate the vacuum seal again. And let me grab some cardstock so we can have a little play with the dies in the embossing folder. And here's some brown cardstock that I have. I decided to go with brown in honor of Tim Holtz. So this is cut to 2.5 inches by 4.5 inches. And I'm gonna grab my handy dandy little user manual so that I know the sandwich for the wafer thin dies. So here it is. First we place the paper onto the cutting pad. Okay, sounds good. And then we place the thinlit die with the blade side down over the paper to be cut. All right, so let's grab this tag die. And then we place the remaining cutting pad on top to create a sidekick sandwich. So let me show that to you on the close-up camera. So here is the sidekick sandwich, and let me show you that up close. So first it's the cutting pad, and then we have our piece of cardstock that's sized to 2.5 inches by 4.5 inches. Then we have our thinlit tag die on top that was included with the Sidekick machine. And then we have another cutting pad to top off our sandwich, and we're just gonna roll this through our machine. Here's our sandwich, and I'm just going to roll it through that machine. Now the thing that you want to remember with the Sidekick is that you're going to turn and crank towards you. And there's our tag die cut. So let's try that again. I've got my cutting pad, my piece of cardstock, my tag die, blade side down, and then another cutting pad on top. And as I roll it through, I'm going to rotate the handle towards me. And when you're working with a big shot plus or a big shot, you usually crank the handle the opposite way. So just like a word of warning, it's going towards you. So you want to crank towards you to work the machine. Here are our 2 tag die cuts. What I want to do next is layer these 2 tags together and put a number on it. So I'm going to grab the number 2, and I'm going to die cut the 2 tags at the same time to see if it can only cut through 1 piece of cardstock, or maybe it can cut through 2. So let's see. So we've got our cutting pad, our tags, our 2 tag die cuts. Our number 2, which I should probably secure with washi, but I'm not going to because I'm brave. And what I'm going to do is just run it through. So rolling towards myself, rolling the handle towards myself. and die cut through the 2 tags easily. Now before I move on to embossing, I just wanted to mention that the Tim Holtz Sidekick works with many of Tim's previous framelit and thinlit releases, and it also works with your wafer thin dies, but just be mindful that your dies aren't larger than the cutting pads, otherwise you're going to have a problem. First of all, they're not going to fit through the machine, so they do have to be sized to the size of the cutting pad so that you can get accurate cutting. And the width again is 2.5 inches by 4.5 inches long. Okay, so instructions for embossing folders, here we go. So first you want to place the material inside the embossing folder. So here is the embossing folder that's included with the machine. And then we have a little piece of cardstock right in there. Okay, we are good on that front. And then we want to place the embossing folder onto the Sizzix embossing pad. Okay, so that is this gray one here. And then we place the Sidekick cutting pad on top of the embossing folder to create a Sidekick embossing sandwich. So I'm going to grab one of these cutting pads and put that right on top and then roll this through. And again, I'm rolling towards myself to work the machine. Now when I was embossing, I didn't feel a lot of pressure and I thought maybe it wasn't going to work, but we're okay there. Let me show you this on the close-up camera. So here is our embossed piece of cardstock, and as you can see, it coordinates perfectly with the stamp set included in the machine. Make sure that you keep your user manual in a safe place because it does have the Sidekick sandwich combinations inside for die cutting and embossing. The Tim Holtz Sidekick is available on the CraftStash website, which is craftstash.co.uk. I'm Janette Lane. Thank you so much for joining me for this unboxing and demonstration video, and I'll see you real soon.